Okay, so now the first mind map that you're going to do in chapter 2 is about human breathing. Okay, whenever you have the title of the topic in the middle or the subtitle, you write it all in capital letters. Okay, so this one would be about human breathing. So in human breathing, the first part that you're going to learn are the organs that are involved in human breathing. So for example, over here what we have is there are three organs that are involved, which is your nose, your trachea, and also your lungs. Okay, so this part here, as you can see, this is your nose, this is your trachea, this long track here is your trachea, and this is your lungs. Okay, next would be how is the process during inhalation and exhalation when you are breathing in, okay, or you are breathing out. So move on to the green branch over here. You're going to write up here the process that are involved. Okay, so this would be your process. So there are two processes that you need to remember, which is inhalation. So you have inhalation, and exhalation. So inhaling and exhaling. Okay, during inhaling, what happens is air is taken into the lungs. Okay, so air goes in, air is taken into lungs. Okay, when you're exhaling, that means you are taking out the air. So you have to write here, air is expelled. Okay, so air is taken out over here. Okay, so air is expelled. Now, how is the process what is the process that occurs during inhaling? So during inhaling, the air goes from the nose to the trachea and to the lungs. Okay, so remember over here you have nose, okay, to your trachea to your lungs. Okay, what about exhaling? So when you're exhaling the air, so the air now, just now the air had already entered from the nose to the trachea to the lungs, right? Now when you're exhaling, the air has to come out. So when the air has to come out, it goes through from the lungs to the trachea and to the nose. Okay, so you start with the lungs to the trachea. Okay, the trachea, as you can see, because it's in the middle, so it's the same for both of them. Okay, and lastly is expelled through the nose. Okay, understand? So you have to here, you have to remember when you're inhaling, air is taken into the lungs. When you're exhaling, air is expelled, and it's from the organ involved during inhaling is from the nose, trachea, and lungs. And when exhaling is from the lungs to the trachea to the nose. Okay, so that is done. Now let's move on to this part here. Okay, what is the chest? Just now you already know how does the air enter in and goes out. Next one is how does your chest move during inhalation and exhalation. Okay, so first of all, you can write over here chest movement. Okay, so your chest movement here, there are two parts here, which is during inhalation and exhalation. So everything, each one of these involves inhalation and exhalation. Okay, so during inhalation, how does your chest move? Of course, your chest would move upwards. Okay, so your chest here moves upwards. Okay, so you can draw an arrow there to show that it moves upwards. So as you can see here, the chest moves upwards. Okay, now when you're exhaling, what happens? It will be the opposite. So your chest moves downwards. Okay, so this is how it is. So when inhaling, your chest move upwards, and when you're exhaling, your chest move downwards. Okay, done. Next one is when you're going to learn about your content of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So in the air that we breathe, there are a lot of types of air, but the two main air that you learn is oxygen and carbon dioxide. So on top here you can write content of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, it's up to you how you would want to write it. You want it to go this way or anything, it's up to you. Okay, this is your mind map. Okay, when you're inhaling, is the same thing. There are two things here that are involved, which is inhalation and exhalation. So inhalation and exhalation. Okay, during inhalation, what goes inside? What would be more here? What air would be more? So the air that would be more during inhalation would be oxygen, because oxygen is needed for the body. So this one, you would have more oxygen. Okay, during exhalation, the air that would compose of more would be carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide is now expelled through. Okay, all the oxygen has already entered and is used up in the body. So now what will be expelled is carbon dioxide. Okay, so when you are taking in, you have more oxygen, but when it goes out, you have more carbon dioxide. Okay, now the last one that you're going to learn is about your rate of breathing. Okay, rate of breathing is when your heart moves in a different pace. Okay, so first of all, you're going to write over here, okay, here, rate of breathing. Okay, what does rate of breathing means? So we're going to write it over here. Okay, rate of breathing means the number of upward and downward chest movements in 1 minute. Okay, so when your chest move up and down, up and down, up and down, so your heart is beating, right? So when that happens, it is called your rate of breathing. So sometimes there are three pace that this move. Okay, so there are three pace of rate of breathing, which is first, you have very low rate of breathing, which means your heart maybe, okay, if this is the sound of your heart, doop 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 doop, right? So if it is low, maybe it will be doop 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 doop. If it is moderate, maybe it will be doop 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 doop. But sometimes it will also be high. So when it is high, it will be doop 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 doop. Okay, so that would be what rate of breathing is about. Okay, now all of this depends on one thing, which is called your type of activity. Okay, so this one, it will depends on type of activity. So let's say you are sleeping. What will be your rate of breathing? It will be low. Let's say you are running or you're going, you're swimming. So your rate of breathing will be high. Let's say you are cycling. So your rate of breathing will be moderate. So it depends on what you are doing. So if you are doing a vigorous activity, then it will be high. If you are doing a, not so active activity, not less vigorous, it will be low. Okay. Lastly, our rate of breathing, uh, okay, now this one is not related to rate of breathing, but it is related to breathing itself. Okay, so these are the situations that affects breathing. So for example, okay, so I'm going to write it down here. Situations that affect breathing. So sometimes when the air is clean, your breathing will be good. When your air is not clean, your breathing will be bad. So it depends on the situation. So for example, as you can see over here, what is this here? This is called the forest fire. Okay, so forest fire, when forest fire happen, For example, haze. Okay, haze is caused by forest fire. So in haze, there are a few things that will pollute the air. So, for example, you have dust, you have floating particles, you have various gases. So, all of these will make your breathing difficult. Okay, so these are in situations whereby there are certain conditions that will pollute the environment. All right. Next would be how maybe if someone smokes. Okay, so smoking would make your breathing worse. Okay, it will deteriorate your breathing. Now, how do we want to improve our breathing? So we must ensure that the air around us are clean, right? How do we ensure our air around us are clean? So maybe we can plant more trees, or we could join uh, a marathon. When you join any activity, or you join any exercise, or you are performing any exercises, you're doing anything, it makes your heart beat regularly, and it makes your heart works better. Okay, so that would actually improve your breathing. So maybe you can write over here, you join exercise, or you join marathon, anything. And this one would be good. Okay, these are the good ones. These are the bad one. And lastly, maybe you can plant more trees, you can plant um, have more gardens, park. Okay, so all these are important because tree gives us up oxygen. So when there are more oxygen, our breathing increases. Okay, so that's all for this topic, this subtopic. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, which is in identification and expression.